What's good, Commanders fans? It's Draft Eve, man. It's Draft Eve. We're finally here to the draft, man. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But I just want to thank you guys for watching last night. If you were on a Rio Robinson stream with my guy Warpath, I was on his channel, so check out my guy Rio Robinson. I'm gonna put his link down in the description. But we just have a news dump. There's been a lot of news. Daron Payne, now Jeremy Fowler is coming out with a rumor or some news that Washington is linked to Matt Corral, the quarterback out of Ole Miss. So basically what he said in the article is Washington has been linked to draft eligible quarterbacks much, but since traded for Carson Wentz before free agency. But the word heading into draft weekend is the Commanders have done a lot of research on Ole Miss's Matt Corral. Researching his background from high school to college, Washington could be looking for quarterback help on day 2 of the draft. The Saints and Panthers also have done much homework on Matt Corral. Some coaches were underwhelmed with his presence in team interviews, but many are high on his quick release and natural throwing ability. Now, Matt Corral, personally, I don't think he'll make it past day 1. I think he's going to be most likely a first-round pick. There are a couple of quarterback needy teams, but this draft, there's just not a slam dunk pick from the quarterback crop, to each his own. But Matt Corral, from what I've heard, I did hear that he got into an altercation with Wayne Gretzky's son at a high school in California, that he also had a drinking problem. His high school, you're young. A lot of kids are doing extracurricular activities, if you know what I mean. So and that's what they do. You got to look at people's background and see what they've done in the past and everything. So I get it. You got to do your due diligence and see what kind of person that these guys are, especially quarterbacks. But Matt Corral, like I said, I have heard some smoke and there could be some fire and whatnot. But I do like some of the things that he has done on the field. I think he's shown good leadership. I think when you watch the games, you can see he can galvanize the troops. He can galvanize the team. He got his guys at Ole Miss to believe in him. He put his body on the line every time. He got injured a lot. He was carted off the field a couple times. Got carted off the field in the Baylor game. Got carted off the field in the Tennessee game and came back and played and still played pretty well. Lane Kiffin ran the ball. He had a lot of design runs for Matt Corral, and he's just a lean. He has a lean, wiry frame, but he's a tough guy, tough-minded. Like I said, he gets the guys hyped. That's one thing I'll say. Now, does have adequate arm strength, like they said, that like his quick release and natural throwing ability. I can see that. Now, the only concerns that I have with Lane Kiffin is that he schemes a lot of guys open. A lot of guys are open in the middle. Dontario Drummond, their wide receiver, who I do like, who could be a guy in the 5th or 6th round or 4th round. There was just a lot of guys open in the middle of the field. Now, his junior year, he threw a good amount of picks, and then I thought he improved in his senior year and did get better. But I do like Sam Howell better than him. I do like Kenny Pickett better than him. Him and Malik Willis, I don't know which one to choose from, but that's just from my eye what I've seen. I do like Sam Howell a little bit better than Matt Corral, but I do see the potential. And I feel like Scott Turner would like him, a lot of design runs, read options, different things like that. I think Scott Turner would like to use him, or I'm not even going to say Scott Turner would use him correctly, but or get the best potential out of Matt Corral. But I do think him being a dual threat mobile quarterback, I think he could be okay if they pick him. But personally, I don't want to draft a quarterback, especially in the 2nd round or 3rd round. I would not do that. I just think it contradicts what you did with getting Carson Wentz. What's the point of trading 2 third-round picks and paying a quarterback $28 million if you're going to draft a quarterback? I just feel like you could have just signed a free agent journeyman guy, kept your picks, and then drafted a quarterback, let him sit for a year, or just let the young rookie quarterback draft him and just let him play and keep your picks and keep your money and keep the salary cap what it was, instead of having to cut Matt Ioannidis, cut Eric Flowers, let Tim Settle walk just to bring in Carson Wentz and trade away picks. So that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me to trade away picks and pay Carson Wentz $28 million just to draft a quarterback on day 2. But this could be a smoke screen. Who knows? There's a lot of rumors coming out in the next 24 to 48 hours. Now let's transition to Daron Payne. So of course, this video, I'm going to do my mock draft at the end, but the video is really going to be more about just news dump stuff. Montez Sweat, they're going to pick up his option. That's obvious news. But the news that it's not a big surprise, but this is from Ben Standig. He just tweeted actually 11 minutes ago, or 35 minutes ago now, on Daron Payne. The Commanders began quietly letting other teams know he is available for a trade weeks ago, according to sources. No indication they are desperate to move him, which is why my report yesterday read, are not expected to offer Payne a contract extension versus he's gone. So if they basically were saying if they can get a good offer now, if they just let him walk next year, they will most likely get a 5th round compensatory pick, which kind of sounds like what the Commanders have done in the past, like letting Brandon Sheriff walk, not getting value for Trent Williams, only getting a 3rd and a 5th, not having foresight to trade Kirk Cousins, only getting a compensatory pick for him, not having foresight, just jumping out ahead of things and trading guys before you know that you don't want to bring this guy back, before we know that Daron Payne doesn't want to come back, because he's going to get paid next offseason. He's going to get paid. He's a good player, but he's not a blue chip player. That's one thing I'll say. He's a good player. I know the advanced metrics, they rate him high in pass rush win rate and in run block win rate. He's a run stuffer. He eats up space. He does a good job of it. But we just don't see consistent dominance from Daron Payne. That's the only thing I have. That's the only critique I really have for him, is that we don't see consistent dominance from him. But other than that, he's a good player. But do you want to pay him the money next year? Does Ron Rivera want to do that? Apparently not. They're not going to extend him, and most likely he is going to walk. So if they can get some compensation, I don't know if they can get a 4th round pick, or I highly doubt they get a 1st or a 2nd. To be honest, in my opinion, I think best case scenario they can get like a 3rd or a 4th. So if they can at least get a 4th, I think you might just have to pull the trigger on him, just because you don't want to let him leave for nothing and just get a 5th round compensatory pick. But of course, you don't want to create another weakness in the defense after losing Tim Settle, after releasing Matt Ioannidis, and also just letting guys go. We don't have a lot of depth at the defensive tackle spot. We did bring in F.A. Obata, which is fine. They probably will sign a Steven Tutalele from the Bills, another former Panther, which is what's most likely going to happen after the draft. Or they could draft Perion Winfrey from Oklahoma, who they did have a top 30 visit. So that's what I get from that. But, if they keep Daron Payne, I wouldn't mind bringing him back next year. It just depends on the money and what the money, what the market is in the offseason. And, of course, how he plays next year. So that's what it is on that part. Now, let's get to the mock draft here. So, first round, I kept the 11th pick. Did I keep the 11th pick? Yeah, I did keep the 11th pick. I kept the 11th pick. So you guys already know I'm on an offensive state of mind. I'm on an offensive state of mind here. So I got Garrett Wilson. Kyle Hamilton was picked 5th by the Giants, just to let you guys know that. So he was already gone off the board. So there was no even really a debate on getting him. So the Giants already got him at the 5th pick. There was a couple mock drafts where he was like picked 3rd to the Texans or something like that. So he was already off the board. So Garrett Wilson's the pick for me. I would not go with Drake London. But if I had to put money down, I think Ron Rivera would go with Drake London, because we have heard reports that he really likes Drake London. We heard it from John Kine, JP Finley, Kevin Sheehan. A lot of local beat reporters are saying the same thing. Now, that could be a smokescreen as well. You just never know. But we can tell that Ron likes big receivers with Devin Funches and Kelvin Benjamin. That's the kind of receiver that he likes. So I got Garrett Wilson at Ohio State, man. He's a dog. He's just a dog. It's just what it is. He would be a perfect number 2 for Terry McLaurin. I already said a couple videos ago that he had 158.3 quarterback rating when he was targeted on man-to-man coverage. The guy, he can break your ankles. He can make guys miss in a phone booth. He's like 6 feet 6'1", but he plays like he's 6'5". He's strong as an ox. Very lean, wiry, skinny guy, but he's stiff arming, pushing guys out the way. Has good run after the catch ability and all that. You see the Clemson game where he climbed the ladder. Has that vertical leap where he can just go up and dunk the ball on you. He just went up and got it over the Clemson cornerback. So I love everything about Garrett Wilson. He's my number 1 wide receiver in this class, in my opinion. I think he just, and I like Olave, but he's just more physical. He just has that dog in him. When Garrett Wilson, he's out there stiff arming linebackers, pushing guys. He's not scared to put his head down to get more yards. And he's talking trash too. I love it. When he gets a big play and they go out of bounds, he's talking over people when he stiff arms them. So I'm a Garrett Wilson guy. Now, I do want to quickly get to the other picks. So I traded our pick, the 2nd round pick. I traded pick 47 with the 49ers, which is, probably not realistic because, Kyle Shanahan, he doesn't mess with the regime. It's a new regime here, so actually, never mind. But I traded with the Niners. I traded pick 47 for pick 61 and 93. So I did get 2 more picks here. But pick 61, I went with a running back. I went with Breece Hall out of Iowa State. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, don't get a running back in the 2nd round. But you look at other running backs that have been drafted in the 2nd round. That's my rebuttal to that. Now, I'm not going to say Breece Hall is Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was drafted in the 2nd round. Joe Mixon was drafted in the 2nd round. Jonathan Taylor was drafted in the 2nd round. Najee Harris was just drafted in the late 1st round. So Ron Rivera said he wants to surround this roster, or surround Carson Wentz with playmakers, and he wants to protect his quarterback. And Breece Hall had a top 30 visit with Ron Rivera as well. So did Kenneth Walker. So keep your eye on that. Breece Hall is legit. Already talked about him too. And he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Had 36 catches for 302 yards. Is a 3-down back. Was All-American twice. Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year twice as well. Had led the nation with 12 rushes of 30-plus yards. Had at least one rushing touchdown in consecutive games. Set a record for that as well. So he's legit. He's very patient. Has really good vision and does not fumble the ball much. He knows how to hold the football. He just has. He's going to come in with more polished vision than Antonio Gibson. You can tell Antonio Gibson, he left a lot of yardage on the field. There's a stat that shows that our offensive line was like top 5 in running lanes running lanes created. And it showed a metric that Antonio Gibson just left a lot of yards on the field. He left a lot of yards out there on the field, and he led all the running backs in fumbles. Now, the more the merrier. And a rushing attack with Gibson, Breece Hall, and J.D. McKissick, that's a nasty trio right there. And if Curtis Samuel was healthy too, he can play running back too a little bit. So the more weapons, the merrier. I want to surround Carson Wentz with as many weapons as possible. I don't want any reason or any excuses for Carson Wentz that said that he failed because he didn't have good receivers or he didn't have a good running game. So I just want him to be surrounded with as much talent as possible. Breece Hall also ran a 4.340, so he's got that speed as well. Very patient. Can make guys miss in the phone booth as well. Very strong, very tough to bring down. Very patient runner. Like I said, he can make what looks like a 2-yard loss into a 5 or 6 yard gain. That's what I'm looking for in a running back. Breece Hall's capable of doing that. Now, pick 93, I got Leo Chenal. Now, the knock on him is that he is most likely, he's more of a 2-down linebacker, not much of a coverage guy, but this guy lives in the backfield. Leo Chenal. I forgot to do the ESPN sound. But at pick 93, I got Leo Chenal out of Wisconsin. Breece Hall went to Iowa State, if you guys didn't know that. But Leo Chenal went to Wisconsin. He lives in the backfield. He was giving Tyler Lindenbaum, the Iowa center, some problems too. He had 8 sacks on the year. How many tackles for loss did he have? He had a lot of tackles for loss as well. He lived in the backfield. 18.5 tackles for loss. 8 sacks this year. 8 sacks and 115 tackles total. And he's more of a natural Mike middle linebacker too. So I think he would fit really well in the defense. The only thing is coverage. But dropping back in zone coverage, I think he should be fine. But he's a big fella. He really is. He's a big fella. How tall? 6'2", 255 pounds. He's a strong ox, man. And he's powerful. He's moving guys. I think he would be better directing traffic. He doesn't get stuck on blocks as well. So I think Leo Chenal would be a solid pick. Just giving us some more linebacker depth and a guy that can rush the passer as well. 8 sacks is legit. He lives in the backfield, and he's coming up there thumping and stopping the run. He's arguably the most violent tackler in this linebacker class. Leo Chenal, I like him a lot. In the 4th round, I only did a 5-round mock draft. I didn't do a 7-round mock draft, but the 4th round, I have Jelani Woods, tight end. Logan Thomas, he should be ready for week 1. That's what he said on the radio. Sammy's Reyes is still raw and developing. John Bates, he's young. He did a good job last year, but he's more of like a TE3 in my opinion. So we kind of need a tight end too. Ricky Seals-Jones left, so we don't have a lot of depth at the tight end position either. So I went with Jelani Woods, local guy out of UVA, out of Virginia University. Very tall, 6'7", can go up and get it. Pretty athletic as well. 6'7", 259 pounds. Ran a 4.61 40-yard dash. Look at the numbers as well. He put up the production as well. 44 catches for 598 yards and 8 tubs. A red zone target. We need a red zone target. We need that. Carson Wentz does well with big tight ends. He does well with tight ends anyway. Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Mo Alley Cox. So give that man a tight end. Give him another weapon in the 4th round. I think he could work out for sure. He did go to that local combine as well. I know the Commanders had a couple scouts there too. So I think he would be a solid pick. Played quarterback in high school as well. So he has the smarts and the instincts and knows how to get open. Has big frame, big hands as well, and is really good after the catch and can break tackles. He's just a big guy. So he's going to be tough to bring down. So those are my picks. You guys let me know what you guys think. But if I had to guess and put money at pick 11, it probably would be Drake London. That's just how I feel about it. But all right, you guys, going to be making a lot of videos tomorrow night. Won't be going live, but I'll just be making videos and seeing, whatever happens with trades and whatnot. All right, you guys, hail to the Commanders. Peace.